Hey YouTube, this is gonna be a little bit weird because I'm recording with my phone and I'm not used to that. I don't know, the little camera I've been using for so many years is just finally it's got something on the lens and it's been turning up in videos as a little foggy area, but I don't know what it is or how to get rid of it. So anyway, this is the update video you've all been waiting for. The Rusty. This is the 1963 Ford Ranchero that we are converting into a 4x4, and it's time for an update. Probably the most significant thing to have happened since the last time I recorded is that we put the floor in, and we've got it all sealed off, and you will note it is just flat, angular, nothing fancy, no fancy curves, doesn't look like the factory stuff. The factory floor wouldn't fit in here anyway. So let's discuss the, well, I think the last thing I posted, and I don't know if I posted it on Facebook, I know I posted it on Instagram, was I posted a little short video. Let the car go by. I posted a short video on Instagram of the body mount, and I had a whole lot of really interesting comments about how I was doing it wrong, and I was an idiot, and I have answers to every one of those comments. I didn't, though, so because I just don't feel like I need to explain myself too much. But so under here is a structure that's part of the body mount that we built. It is welded to the side rails of the Ranchero. And then this piece here, this is a piece of 2x2. It goes all the way through to the other side. It's anchored into the side rails as well. And it rests on the body mount that I added, so it kind of crosses over, although there's a piece of sheet metal in between the two. So anyway, here is where it passes through the little through my tunnel. It's just got some pieces here that are extended, but this is another piece of 2-inch, or no, I'm sorry, this is actually not 2-inch here. This is a piece of I think there's two pieces of 8x2 running parallel, and then they're stitched across the top, but they're basically just there to span the load across the tunnel. And then this piece here is mostly just to help support the weight of the bench seat. Moving up here, we added these little guys right here, these little structures. They're resting on a really, anemic structure that runs between the two body mounts. This runs across here. You can see these little tack welds, these little plug welds anyway. That's where the sheet metal for the floor is mounted to it. And then when we get to the front, we have, again, this is the body mount here. This is the bolt. And the rubber mount is actually underneath. It's between the piece here and the actual body mount for the frame. So anyway, again, it's basically a similar structure, and if I have photos of these things, and I'll put them in here so you can kind of see better what's happening. But there again, it's attached back here to the frame, or to the side rails here, and then the front is the original structure of the Falcons had a torsion box up here at the front, and that's what carried the load, transferred the load from the side rails to the front rails where the hinge, the springs and the front suspension were mounted. And I've basically, that all got ripped out, and we welded in a new structure and rebuilt new structure, and it's actually tied into my body mount that I put away. It's tied into the body mount up here, kind of underneath. Again, I probably have photos, and I'll put that in there. Right up there at the very front, you can see these two knockouts. There's plugs anyway. Those plugs are covering where, those are access to the two top bolts for the bell housing, in case I want to get the transmission out to change the clutch, or for any other reason. That gets me access to those top two bolts. The trans tunnel here, these are cut as tight as I could get. Not because I think that's where they should be, but because if I need to make it bigger, I can make it bigger. But I can't make it smaller as easy, so I just cut it as basically as small as I could get away with, and we'll see where we go from there. I did manage to turn a couple of shifter knobs. This is just a piece of aluminum. This is an aluminum ball that I had several of these given to me years ago, and I just this one here just got drilled. The one for the transfer case got turned down a little bit, so it's a little bit narrower. All right, another thing is, this is our battery storage. This is a little box, just simple sheet metal, just tacked. It's not been sealed or painted or anything. This is actually not the correct battery. This is actually the battery for the F-250 that's behind me. This is the correct battery. It's a Group 65 battery. It's a little bit, it's a little flatter, but it's bigger, you know, that way. So we'll build a place for it to mount. So the ground cable, it just circles around and it goes through the floor, and it's anchored with a bolt. And so that grounds it to the body. And then there's a jumper to the frame, and that grounds it to the frame. The positive is actually running this direction. I've got a little grommet here, kind of trying my best to seal this off from the actual cabin space because, well, reasons, it's a battery. But, so we've got just a little bit of conduit here, and then the cable itself, I don't know how this is going to work later when I start getting carpeting and stuff in, but we have it running along the sill here, and hopefully this will be able to keep it covered. And then it goes up, and well, I'll show you that where it goes here in a little bit. But one more thing that has to happen to the battery case is we still have to build a lid for it, and then it needs to be vented to the outside. So that's our battery box so far. All right, so way back here is where the battery cable passes through the firewall, and right next to it is the engine harnesses to the computer. The computer is actually, I don't know if I can get it quite in here. It's right there. It got a little bracket built for it. It nests right there very neatly, and maybe I can show you that through here. All right, so looking through the defroster vent, you can see the backside of the computer there, the harness anyway. And then down, I still need to find a place to mount it. That guy right there, that's the inertia switch that shuts off the fuel pump in case you're in a wreck. There's a lot of stuff under here that I just can't show you. But so this is the underside of the body mount that I was from the top, you know, that I was showing from the top. You can see the factory body mount still here. This is the mount on the frame. This still needs rerouted or dealt with. It's rubbing kind of hard through this pass-through, but this is what I've cobbled together for my handbrake, and it still needs some finer tuning. There's the front body mount right there. All right, so this is the ground bolt that I was saying passed through the floor, and I don't know why it's got a shot of paint on it. I don't know what I was thinking there, but anyway. So it's actually got a ground cable that runs, this one here runs all the way up to the front, to the motor. I think it's grounded at the motor. And then we've got this little jumper here goes to the frame right here. And you can see that one cable just takes off running down that way. So we wanted to ground it as well as we can get it. Let's crawl all the way under here. So there's that structure I was showing cuts across the the trans tunnel. Yeah. So anyway, and then yeah, there's my catalytic converter, one of them. But you can see this is the underside. Underneath the rest of the bed and that kind of stuff, I just can't get to it right now. So what I'll have to do is I have plenty of photos, and we'll put together, you know, I'll throw some photos in here, and probably even at the end of the video, there'll be just a bunch of photos from what I did where I wasn't shooting video. And that brings us to what's under the hood. So there's our 4-liter V6. It is, yeah, it's a funny thing. So we got the computer all hooked up. This is the original power distribution from the Mazda. and we just got it bolted on right there on the fender. There's the starter solenoid from the Mazda. You can see where the harness comes through, passes down, splits off this part. A lot of this, I think this goes into like the relays, and the relays are under here, under the box in the original clips that were on the Mazda. Parts of the harness, I'm not exactly sure. Let's see. Yeah, so anyway, the harness is all hooked up actually. One of the most difficult things I had to figure out, and I'm not 100% through with it, is to get my air intake hooked up. So here's my mass airflow meter. This is one of these funny little cone filters, and I had to build this bracket, and you can see where it's got another little bracket that I built, and it's just bolted here, and that's what holds this, takes up that weight. This end here, so this is just one of these cold air intakes you can get at any of these parts stores, AutoZone, AutoZone, O'Reilly's, and whoever. And what I did, so at this end, it's just fine. It bolts, you know, it just straps right onto my mass airflow meter. This end here, this is the duct, this elbow here. This is the one that was with the Mazda. And the original, the factory one, what it did was it came across here with a little flat piece of plastic, and then there was another hose that took off and ran off all the way over here. I don't have room for that. Matter of fact, this is where the battery would go if this were still a Ranchero. And so what we've done is we've taken a nosedive into this little cubby. Eventually, I'd like to build an air box for the air filter, but for now, this is what we get. At this end here, this is an ovoid. It just worked out to where I was able to just kind of smash that down, and it fit. So, yeah, we've got the brakes bled, the clutches bled. There's still some adjustment I need to do to the clutch pedal, I think, but this is the best part. Way down here, I got an ignition switch, and I think, I haven't tried this yet today, but let's see what happens. And that's basically the update on the Ranchero. Yeah, I got nothing else to say about it, really. The next step right now, and what I'm working on currently on it, is the getting the seat upholstered. That's something I will do. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm making repairs to the seat base. There was a broken bolt, strip bolts, there's missing things, there's a couple broken springs in it. And I've got all that stuff, and I will try my best to put some video together of me doing some of that work. And then I have the upholstery. I have it's just going to be some very simple, basic black vinyl seats for right now. I have the vinyl, I have the foam, I have, you know, that stuff. There's still a few things I need to get, but that is the Ranchero. That's Rusty, the 4x4. The next steps are going to be, like I said, the seat gets upholstered and put in. The interior gets a little bit more work done to it, so I have to build I'll make a headliner for it. I need to find a windshield for it. The fenders, the rear fenders, still need to be re-arched, cut out, and do all that patchwork so that they're round, and I got clearance for those tires. And there's still some rust, repair what needs to be done. But other than that, it made a lot of progress over a short period of time this past several months. And so that's where we're at. And I will keep trying to put out some videos. So until next time. Bye.